Iha Ashtoisa, which is made-up fairy talk for, "Hi, welcome, everyone, this is Archangel." There is an all-out war against males to keep them compliant and malleable to gynocentric agenda. And thus we send out our drones to shame into submission the wild cards, the unruly males that are trying to break away, such as males here in empowerment spaces. As such, another tactic used to convince males to return to the plantation to worship at the altar of feminine is your masturbatory images. Many try to say that if you masturbate to porn or images of females, that you are apparently still worshiping them. Oh, absolutely, there is definitely a battle that rages against males. And this is simply another shaming tactic used to break males down to the utilities that we demand they be. Most everyone seeks male blood, and opposing these hordes is a mere handful of awakened males that actually seek the liberation of male souls. I speak my words to free male minds and spirits, whereas the entrenched gynocentric establishment, coined the vaginisty, is trying to keep them subjugated to devaluation and disposal, and they will use any and every tactic to guilt, shame, cajole, and even oblige males under duress to continue feeding the meat grinder of male devaluation. And this is where we get the secret purple agents that invade our spaces and spread propaganda to create chaos and dissent within our own strongholds. I mean, holy frijoles, this campaign against males knows no bounds. These secret vaginisty agents are weak, addicted, spineless, skirt-chasing, female-placating, pussy-begging, pathetic pansy posers who are tasked with turning male spaces into neutered, declawed hangouts for dudes that merely attract more purple addicts who also enjoy bitching about feminism and then chasing unicorns or ballin' hoes on the weekend. All the while these guys pat themselves on the back as awakened. Or, worse yet, they pretend that they are warriors fighting for male welfare as they fuel the inferno that causes male devaluation in the first place. Oh, you betcha, these infiltrators are as genuine as green earthers that say they care about pollution as they throw trash out the window of their gas-guzzling SUVs that they drive 500 feet to the convenience store in order to get more stuff to consume and discard. Still, the validation addicts are doing their best to hijack MGTOW and male empowerment spaces and declaw it with their addiction-inspired return to the plantation rhetoric. Now they are using sneaky means to encourage guys into giving up idealistic platforms of male empowerment and come back to the traditional feminist criticisms and chase and tail. Incidentally, the chasing tail part is that which enables the abuse and slavery and usury and mistreatment and manipulation that caused them to search out MGTOW in the first place. Oh, you are transparent. You are too weak to live with your addiction, and so you try to get the community to go with you, so you won't be alone in your weakness. Facing your cowardice by yourself is not very pleasant, is it? So, we usually get the man-up, gay, jaded, woman-hating shaming tactics. Then, sometimes we get the be good to females and they will be good to you law of attraction coercion. And some advanced agents are even giving us the males need female touch and affection for health, emotional stability, and even our very sanity. Now, the gynocentrically entrained are also using another sneaky infestation tactic, which is that if male empowerment warriors look at porn and masturbate to images of females, that he is not really free. He is still worshipping females. What? Are you kidding me? No, really. The agents of the divine feminine assert that looking at pictures during a session of self-pleasuring means that you are a fraud. You might as well go out and chase the actual thing. Wow, this is desperate and a completely bogus shaming tactic that surprisingly has worked on a number of weak-minded and imposter MGTOW. So they assert that heterosexual males looking at or imagining images of what they are biologically attracted to in order to precipitate sexual excitation such that it will enable sexual arousal sufficient to allow a sexual act. This means that they are closeted gynocentric sympathizers? Well, apparently, despite the seething passion to extinguish male devaluation, empowerment males are still gynocentric tools because they think about what sexually excites them for a few seconds of self-precipitated ejaculation. Yeah, so if chicks think about guys while they ride the electric massager in the shower, this means that they worship males and put cock on a pedestal? Or if you think about cake as you eat broccoli, it means you're a fake and your diet is a fraud. According to these simp sellouts, it's the excitation you receive from cake that makes you a fraud. So you may as well relinquish your high and mighty diet and come back to Chocolate Cake City. Yeah. So, for one, it really doesn't matter what you look at. If you abstain from female indulgence, if you refrain from recreational interaction with females, and thus live as an example to other males, then you are being the change that you wish to see in the world. You are a talk walker, not a walk talker, who is an impotent little clithead who spends their time justifying their addiction by seeking to turn red pill males into purple pill males in order to make the existing purple pill males feel better about their own personal validation weakness. Maybe Gandhi or Jesus looked at pictures of grenades and machine guns in their private time, but when they were around others, they taught love and nonviolence, and their example through their personal action is what caused change, not their daydreams or private fantasies. A person's fantasies or mental musings do not define their allegiances. A person's actions define them. What does it matter if Union soldiers looked at pictures of slavery? Their actions were to fight against it, and it is their actions that caused change and emancipation upon Civil War completion. Who cares if monks look at porn? It is that monks' actions of abstinence that will inspire other downtrodden males to loose their chains and maybe even one day dare to live free. Next, we know the difference between fantasy and reality. Porn is like a movie. It's fun, but not real. What you see in porn is not what the average, entitled, snobby, unadventurous, lazy chick will do. Chicks do not swallow and lick every last drop of ejaculate off her lips like it is her last meal. Chicks don't enthusiastically lick their own toes, or lick his anus. Chicks don't take anal poundings like a rancher pounding fence posts into the ground. Nor do they try every position known to humans. Because, in real life, sex is plain. It's 2 to 5 minutes of ordinary, and most females are not adventurous at all. Hence, because reality is monotonous, we look for the exciting, the non-normal in entertainment. We use movies in the same way. We escape into fiction for a little while because we don't see superheroes or giant Japanese lizards that come up from the sea in everyday life. We enjoy entertainment because it shows excitement and spectacular adventure that is not part of everyday reality. And so porn pretends that chicks are super nympho all the time, that they scream louder, they are more enthusiastic, they are more limber and agile and flexible, and they can take more pipe than a plumbing supply warehouse, and all the while begging for more. It is an escape into fantasy, especially from males that have specific tastes. Males who enjoy seeing behaviors that they will likely never see from an actual female in a sexual encounter. A golden shower, for example. Or her dropping a Cleveland steamer on his chest. These are fetishes that males can only sate in entertainment, where the female is acting and getting paid to stick her tongue up the guy's back door. Males look at porn to see and fantasize that females are as kinky or adventurous as he wishes actual everyday females were. Even blue pill males look at porn, because the average everyday female would never be this fun or adventurous or downright nasty, because the average everyday broadzilla is too busy extorting all the money and protection she desires simply for giving him 3 minutes of missionary with all the enthusiasm of a dead fish. Females get all the protection and provision they want. They get more for doing the least amount in the bedroom. Why would they ever be adventurous for guys? Porn is an escape from reality, like movies or video games. All are exciting fantasy, and we understand it as such. I may get excited by martial arts scenes or street racing in movies, but I do not then go out and pretend that I am Bruce Lee in the back alleys behind rowdy bars, nor do I go racing my car through the streets like Steve McQueen. It is simply an escape. There is fantasy, and there is reality. There is fairy tales of romance and nymphomaniacs and pornography, and then there is reality, which is gynocentrism and male devaluation. Next, just because a male takes a stand against inequity doesn't mean his sexual orientation has suddenly changed. A straight male is still heterosexual. See how that works? Meaning female form and anatomy are what visually excite him. So a straight male may look at pictures of a female while pleasuring himself and appreciate the beauty of a female, just as one can look at pictures of large cats and appreciate the beauty of a panther or tiger. Yet, that does not mean that you should go snuggle up to one in real life. The vagina addicts will say that because you look at porn while pleasuring yourself, you are still putting females on a pedestal and essentially worshiping them from afar. And thus empowerment monks should just end the charade and go purple and chase skirts like every other thirsty dude. Forget about male empowerment. Let's all be hedonistic, egocentric bad boys that have no self-worth or identity outside of female validation. Oh, if you look at porn, you are still thinking about females. You are obsessing over them. Well, duh, we can't not think about females. We are surrounded and interact with them daily in society. Moreover, we have to think about females to analyze their behaviors, and we have to contemplate females because that is who we use in contrast against males in order to see the difference in treatment between males and females. We have to think about females sometimes more than we want to. People, they look at a lot of things. Many are fascinated by grisly scenes of carnage or violence. Does this mean that they should go out and enact these things? Females have fantasies about rape or forcible sexual acts. Does that mean that they should quit kidding themselves and do whatever they can to go out and get assaulted? Maybe even get run through by an entire biker gang? Imagining or even being curiously excited by an image does not necessarily translate to everyday life. People watch videos of other people injuring themselves, and some may even laugh at such videos, meaning that they enjoy others' mishaps. Does that mean that they worship misfortune and desire an arm or leg break for themselves? These males will say that you are lusting after and pretending that these images are the real thing, so you should just chase the real thing. Yeah, so people that get excited by paintball or violent video games, they are really just worshiping violence, and they are lusting after the experience of war and battle, so they should just quit pretending and use real guns, right? You stop drinking soda because it drains your vitality and life force and increases notches on your belt, yet you still think about pop. You look at Coke or Mountain Dew ads and desire creeps in. Does that mean that you obsess and you should simply go back to high fructose corn syrup and phosphoric acid? This is really a case of calling someone a fraud for use of a substitute. Give up the artificial sweetener and go back to real sugar. Don't sit there and watch cliff diving videos. Go jump off a cliff yourself. Yeah. There are substitutes for a reason, because the actual thing is flawed or detrimental. Yet here you are called a fraud for using a substitute. Be honest with yourself and go back to the plantation, back to devaluation and disposability, just because you occasionally look at naked humans in sexual acts. Really? Most males are not even trying to hide their desire for female substitutes, artificial womb, sex bots, etc. Males are actively looking for female substitutes, and porn and virtual reality are steps along this quest. Males want female substitutes because females are too toxic and the sex they peddle is monotonous, completely overpriced, and frankly, not worth the time or effort. Get with the program, you purple preachers. Males are not trying to hide their desire for female substitutes. They are actively pursuing them. This whole looking at porn, or using sex dolls or pocket vaginas, or any other female substitute shaming tactic, this is so ridiculously pathetic, and usually only works on the already weak-minded, who are looking for a reason to go back to servitude, because the thirst is too strong for them to overcome. Masturbation is fantasy, and straight males, celibate or not, look at or imagine that which actually visually excites them and physically arouses their bodies. This in no way translates into throwing in the towel and turning male empowerment into a purple opium den for addicts to congregate. However, males do need to understand fantasy and reality. Fantasy is where females are ravenous sex goddesses, and they care about male welfare. Reality is where you are expendable utilities, and females and sex are monotonous and disappointing. Yes, males do need to overcome and take charge of their bodily desires, or else their desires will control them and cause them to seek out female interaction when they desire skin instead of pixels on monitors. But saying that if a male looks at porn while pleasuring himself means that he still serves gynocentrism, this is asinine beyond belief. If you still think about women, you are an addict like us. If you are still attracted to women, maybe because you're hetero, then you should just give up, give in, and go back. Yeah, that's logic. We actively fight all urges to live by example and eschew romantic and sexual congress with females, not because we are bored with nothing else to do, but because we care more about male mistreatment and the suffering of males than other males do. We control appetites and selfish pleasure to the point that we truly live by example, and then, every once in a while, if you need to run off some steam and look at porn only to be labeled a poser in denial who still worships females, despite the monumental effort to live in a way that supports male worth and value, well, I think we can see the true loser and cowards. 'Tis the purple gynocentric salesman trying to shame males back to the plantation. Do not feel guilty for indulging in fantasy, but leave it in the realm of fantasy. Practicing monking is wise, and a key tenet of monking is control of appetites. Do not overindulge in self-pleasure, for then it will morph into a problem. It doesn't matter what you look at, because quite simply, it's empowerment or not. Walk the talk. My friends, stand with me, live free.